Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Abby Haggard. This is a cup of warm beverage. Yes, indeedy. All right, then. More great news. I'm going to have a wonderful visit this afternoon with a kind of a guy who knows a bunch of stuff about a bunch of stuff, which is very exciting. And I'll have more to talk about that next week with you. Um, I have a subject today that has caused me a lifetime of utmost damned astonishment and a great deal of amusement for any random passers-by and most of my friends, because that's the way it is. And I want to begin that conversation as fast as I possibly can, because there's a lot to unpack. And what I want to say before that, again, is it's so exciting. We have some new Twitch people following us, which is very, very cool. Thank you, guys. And LinkedIn is just being amazing. Out of the LinkedIn viewers, I've got a call set up next week with someone who is an expert in neuroplasticity, how we teach the brain to think and do and be other things. Very exciting. He saw a couple of my videos. He reached out and he said, "So I think I need to talk to you." Now, I don't know whether I should be looking outside for a padded truck while we have the conversation, or whether he sees a benefit of us on the other kind. Anyway, that's kind of an interesting, who saw that coming. So where I am today talking to you. So I'm sorry, by the way, Facebook, of course, my love's on Facebook and YouTube. God bless you. LinkedIn is amazing. Instagram is starting to show its head. Twitch is incredible. And we're building. Slowly but surely, we're building. So the conversation today is about a thing that happens to us so often. And it can be so. Good morning, Jeremy. Hello from Illinois. How you doing, Illinois? I have people in Illinois. Watch your back, Jeremy. Um, we we try new things. We reach a point where we say, "For heaven's sake," or we've hit that trip, stumble over the curb. It's been not that bad, and all of a sudden it is. All of a sudden, it's not only that bad, it's insupportable. And we've said, "By golly," and then we've done the next right thing. And then right after we do the next right thing, and we're saying, "There," we do something so remarkably stupid, it takes the breath away. And we think, what the hell? And we can't wrap our heads around it. What we do only here in Toronto, oh, that's right, that's your trip. How was the arcade? Um, we think that when we stumble and splat so hard, so fast, that it's a clear sign from the universe, from the gods, that we're making a horrible mistake. Horrible mistake. Good morning, Freddie. And in fact, we're not. And I'm not going to go into this whole universe and manifest and all of that, because that's a very important topic, and it's a topic for another time, another day, to lead into properly. Um, Suffice to say that the word manifest um, was never a verb. It was a ship's log. It was a captain's log of what is on the ship, a bill of lading, a list of all the stuff that's below decks. And if we could return to that definition, a manifest is who we are and what we bring. It is our carry list. It's not something we're chasing or something we have to do or be. It's what's inside here. It's the bill of lading. So we'll get onto that for another day, but I just wanted to plant that seed because it's an important thing to go, oh, that's interesting. Because just remember, manifest was not a verb. Manifest was a list of the contents enclosed herein. So if I have a manifest, this is the bill of ladings of me. It's not a do. It's a what I am. I'll leave it there. So one more sip. Today we're talking about a small step we miss when we decided to enter the learning curve. It's a small step we forget. And unless we're told, unless it's pointed out to us, we never see it. And so many people who have hesitated to jump in, to do something different, to change, it can kill their passion, their curiosity, their tentative little looking out of the cave, because it's devastating. So here's what happens. Here's what happens. Well, it happened to me last week. I have to get back to my exercises. I have to start working out again. Yes, yes, yes. So I do. Knowing full well that I've put it off so long that I'm going to feel fascinating tomorrow. The only thing that isn't going to hurt is the end of my nose and the tips of my hair. I'm aware of this, and yet, I proceed. So last week I did that, and the next morning I woke up and said, "Ow," and there was really nothing else to say about it. That was the full complement of how I felt. Ow. And then I went and had coffee with my buddy Liam, and I reached for something. I just reached for something, and I bumped into something sticking out from the wall, and it poked me in my rib, and I, and I said, "Ow!" And then I thought, "Oh no, that's not the rib, that's the muscle. Oh no!" And sure enough, and I said, "No, no, it's fine, it's fine. I'll do a workout." No, it was the thing that no matter what you do, anything you're doing with that hand, the body was saying, "Excuse me, excuse me." So I had to pause the upper body workout. I kept doing the lower part, but really there's so much stuff with the lower part that needs the upper part. Anyway, it reminded me of all these things that happened, and I thought, yes, this is why we have to have this conversation. So the title of the video today is, if it's not yes, does it mean no? Can it only mean no if it's not yes? And the answer is, for heaven's sakes, of course not. Here's why. And the picture I posted, if you're on Facebook, if you know about my Facebook page, if you go there, I will find the picture, and I'll find another way to post it on different things. But I did a fan event a couple of years back in a smallish town near Ottawa. And there was a lovely fellow I suddenly realized was standing near my booth. And the reason I suddenly realized he was standing there is he'd been there a while and he hadn't done anything or said anything. And then I noticed that he had a service dog. And so in my work with veterans over the last couple of years, I've come to understand that somebody who doesn't present any other observable issues, if they're with a service dog, they have some kind of anxiety disorder. They have a stress disorder of some kind, so significant that the dog is kind of their rudder, their anchor, their safety valve. And so here was this fellow, and I looked down, and sure enough, it was it was a working dog, and so on. So I said to him, "Would you like a picture?" And he nodded, and I realized, okay, nonverbal. And I said, "I have a feather boa." And he grinned, and I said, "Would you wear a feather boa?" Big nod. So I put the boa around his neck, and then I said, "Is it okay? Can I hug?" And he big nod. So the picture that's on Facebook is that picture. Jesse, my photographer, Jesse Moore Hamill, took this amazing picture of the three of us, because the dog is just kind of smiling, and this lovely young man is smiling. And I'm the word girl. And there isn't a word for how grateful I was, how humbled I was, how I didn't want to do anything wrong for them, because it was so amazing to me that whatever their issue is, they came and they waited and they posed and put up with me asking, "Can I do all these things?" And then after that, you know what? He stayed for a long time, just happily there. And every so often I would look over and I would wave, and he would nod his head. And I thought, he's come through the keyhole and he's on the inside with me very quietly, because it's who he is and how he is. it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean the world to him. Because if it didn't mean the world to him, he'd have stood and waited and got his shot and moved on. But he didn't. And it was a busy time, and it was a noisy time, and there was a lot going on. It could easily have been overwhelming for him. And he stayed. And this is what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about today is, in the dictionary under "you get a pass for not coming" is people like him. In the dictionary under "oh, it's understandable" is my friend, my great friend, Ryan Lithell, who we lost recently, who was told vehemently by the hospitals after he was born, A, that he wouldn't make it, B, he wouldn't make it long, C, he would never live on his own. And in fact, he proved them wrong. He proved them wrong so completely. Good morning, Miss Marnie. How nice to see you. I'm so glad you're here to listen to this story. This chap was incredible. And so what happened when I saw this fellow, it was in Brockville, Ontario, which is right down along the St. Lawrence. So you can, we can lob bread and dinner rolls across the river to the neighbors to the south. This chap has a condition significant enough that he can get out and about as long as he has a service dog. He could have stayed home. He came instead to a fan convention, which is loud and noisy and crazy and colorful and busy. And he had, I wasn't right beside the door, so he would have gone all through the room to find me. And when he found me, he stayed. And we have this amazing photograph of the three of us together, his dog, service dog, human, and friend. And it says to me this: yes doesn't have the same definition for everyone. That's the starting point. So when we say, I'm going to give it a try, and we succeed, to the extent of our first try, and then immediately after that, this is the thing that happens to me. It happens to everybody. The immediate next thing I do is a complete and utter disaster. And I'm so surprised, because I was so pleased and rather grand about how well I had just done this thing for the first time. Really, they're going to write about me in books. Yes, they are, Abby. They're going to write about you in books. You'll be a case study. So here's what happens. And I'm going to, you know what, Marnie, you've inspired me. I'm going to, so my dear, fabulous, incredible friend Marnie has been hit upside the head with a sock filled with wet sand called bronchitis. And so, boof, thud. So there she is. She's in her sick bed. So here's the story. You're going to do a stage play. All right. This is a story that everyone who has ever been in show business will get a full kick out of. Good morning, Rhea. How nice to see you. So here's the thing. They cast you in a play. They give you the script. You learn the script. You learn the script until everyone in your immediate orbit no longer wants to see you or hear you running lines from the script, because really, could you not take up a tuba instead? Possibly. And then you finally get to rehearsal and you've got your lines. And everybody does kind of a read through and they've got their lines and everybody's very pleased. And so then you say, okay, so we're ready. We're going to do a couple of these rehearsals. We know who we are. We've talked through what our motivations and what the overall scheme is. And the director and the designer show you stuff and you see the costumes and whatnot. And it's wonderful because you're in the embryo stage of this thing that we are collectively birthing, right? Okay. And so you walk around, even though you have the lines, you walk around the script with a pen, because you're going to do blocking and you need to make notes in the margins about, and when I do this and I pick up the phone, I say hello. I don't pick up the phone and say, is there more tea? I say that when I pour the tea. And so we work out the physicalities of what we're doing. And then we run through it and we get the timing for when we say this and how long it takes us to do that, because we're gradually making this, we're breathing this thing into life, right? And then we're going to do a costume run through. Bonus. So we've done all this stuff. We've come all this way. It's been weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Put on our costumes. We walk out on stage and we immediately forget everything, including our middle name. can't remember the single benighted thing, not one. Or if we do, it's wrong. The timing sucks. And we look at each other and we don't, I have never liked you. And the director just sits there and says, I love my work, I love my work, I love my work, because right now he doesn't love his work. And every single time, Marnie, I hope I haven't made you laugh because now you're coughing and I'm sorry. But every single time, it's a collective thought. You can see the thought bubble above us, right? What is wrong with me? I had the lines. You heard me. I had it cold. I was ready. What happened? This is what happened, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, humans of all shapes and sizes. It is called, I've defined it, add a layer, lose a layer. Add a layer, lose a layer. The thing you put on top triggers drop the one on the bottom. Marnie's about to type me something, so I have a feeling I've either caused her to have a fit or she's giving me thumbs up. This has never not happened in a rehearsal. It has never not happened that you've gotten in a car for the first time, you've managed not to hit anything or run a red light or get a ticket or scare your driving instructor into next year. You come back the next day and you get in the car, assuming that we pick off where we left off. And in fact, you're worse. You're worse. And you say to yourself, how can I be worse? I did well yesterday. The driving instructor has got that tight smile because he's clenching his teeth, because this is what day 2 is always about. When you do a play, when you finally get on the stage on the play, opening night, yada, 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 is brilliant. Second night, it's the third string subbing in, and 2 of them have forgotten their names. What the hell happened? What happened was we added a layer. We added the ego of success from opening night. And the ego of success is walking around and said, yes, yes, and this is my other good side. So loudly, we can't remember that we have to begin again. Every show is a first time for the audience. Therefore, it must also be a first time for us. We have to dig back in and find the origin of the species, find the reason we came, and relive it. Every show has to be opening night. That is how we maintain that first thrill of victory. By saying, okay, let's do this, and go out with the energy and the focus of the first time. That is really hard to remember to do, because the ego, yes, we've been running this for 3 months, and I now can't stand the sight of any of the cast. Lucky them, they obviously adore me. This is going against human nature, because once we get good at something, it goes into our autopilot category. Do it often enough, repeatably, simply, over and over, and the subconscious brain takes over and can do it by rote. What the subconscious brain can't do is do it with surprise and animation and first time excitement. It's not how the subconscious brain works. So we always need to bring that awareness to what's going on. So if it's not a yes, if that lovely person in Brockville and family were told, there will always be an issue. It will never be like everyone else, if there is such a thing as everyone. There will always be this issue. Well, that sounds pretty much like a no to me. And so what did they do? Did they give up and say, oh, well, and just find him a chair in the corner? Hopefully he'll learn to knit? No, they didn't. Because there he was, quietly, patiently, beaming. Best moment of his life, followed immediately by the next best moment of his life because he chose, his family chose to say, it may not be your yes, but it's mine. And I'm going to own it. And I'm going to walk here with it. And I'm going to do it with my dog. And I'm going to stand there till that redhead realizes she's missing a moment. And I'm going to stay as long as they let me, because this is a pretty good day. And we all have that ability. The sad thing is, people don't tell us. People don't educate us to understand that for every layer added, there will be a setback. The good thing is that when we come back again, we're not starting back at zero. We are that step ahead. And then we do it again, and there's a setback. We do it again, and there's a setback. It's not the same setback. We're not in the same space. It's not Groundhog Day. It is how we learn. We learn by applying and reapplying and reapplying, managing the process, polishing the process so that it becomes our autopilot. And when it has become our autopilot, we don't even realize it. The first time I drove without consciously screaming at all the things that I had to do simultaneously, it wasn't until I stopped and put the car in park and I thought, hey, that worked. That worked. Open the window. I'm alone in the car. Open the window. That worked. People are looking at me. It didn't matter. It worked. It worked. I got it. Of course, the next day I immediately did something remarkably stupid because I was assuming there. And this brings me to the conversation I'm going to have this afternoon with my very, very clever friend, my hockey trivia master, Liam. We're going to talk about the key to success. And the key to success in all these things is seeing the setback not as a fail, but evidence that we were distracted. Did we do it a second time? Yes. Did we do it as well? No. But we did it? Yes. Then all we were was distracted. Try it again. There. Whoops. No. Distracted. Fine. Distracted doesn't mean loser. It means there's so much going on all the time. Even if all we're doing is this, there's stuff. As I'm doing this, there's a twinge in the muscle from when I did that. And now I'm thinking about that, and now I mess up this. That's normal. That is not the reason to quit. It is the recognition that we're on the path. This is the learning curve. The learning curve isn't smooth. It's like one wobbly wheel. That's the learning curve. And the reason that I want to tie this into the meeting I'm going to have today with Liam is this. Liam is great close friends to every hockey player Canada has ever produced and brought to a main stage. He is friends with them and they are friends with him because they share a common passion, and that is an awareness and understanding of the game, Canada's game. And he has the most remarkable memory. He can remember trivia, he can remember stats, he can remember moments, he can remember curves in the success and the failure. Totally coughing. My bad. Sorry, Marty. But I'm right, aren't I, about the add a layer, lose a layer, right? The thing that Liam has had the opportunity and privilege to learn firsthand is the observable patterns in behavior. Good morning, Warren. Oh, it's so good to see you. Good morning, Charles. Hey, the gang is all forming. Alrighty. the thing that Liam, my friend Liam, has had the opportunity to observe is the pattern that creates the routine required to navigate success. Because success isn't a destination. Success is a process. And this is, he and I were talking about this at great length. I reached out to him and I said, I have a feeling that you and I can have a conversation with a great number of people on a subject that is important to me. And it involves what is important to you. Because, he's looking at me because really, yellow rubber gloves and a hockey stick, where is the, in that, Abby? And I said, because we're talking about success. We're talking about longevity. We're talking about falling down and getting back up. We're talking about the fleeting trajectory of fame unless we decide to stay for the full game. And he said, oh, of course, gotcha. And I said, talk to me about what they do, these guys who are the best. And he said, they train. And I said, of course. And he said, no. What I mean by that is they train to train. They train to learn. They train to perfect. They train to observe and account for, work around, override, drive on through. They train consistently. Constantly? No, they have their time. But they train consistently to stay sharp. Not because the hounds of hell are right there, although sometimes, he said, that's not why they train. They train because being fast, being quick, being aware, able to think here and there. That famous line, I don't pay attention to where the puck is. I pay attention to where it's going to be. I don't care where it was. I know where it is, but I'm focused on where it's going to be because that's where I'm going to go. That takes a lot of training to shift your brain processing into that kind of pattern. And it's easy to lose it because we don't really use it to the same extent in the same way in our everyday. We don't expect, when we put bread into the toaster and push the button, we don't expect the toast to come out someplace else. We don't expect it to go ha from behind us. So we can kind of ride slack on that. It's pretty much a given. It may every other time it comes out black, every other time it comes out golden, and who knows. Those things happen that we can't predict. Of course I see you, Freddie. Do I see you? I see you here. I can't see you. You're not on camera with me. When I understand Liam correctly, what he's saying to me is that excellence is a finely tuned instrument. Excellence is a finely honed knife. You see hunters sharpening their knives. You see musicians tuning their instruments right before the moment they play. They are practicing, they are honing, they are tuning themselves in the same way. They set aside the allotted time consistently to make sure they're in it and on it. They work with a coach because it's not just 50 sit-ups, 50 sit-ups. We have to bring the 50 sit-ups to the next level every so often to surprise the muscle memory, to remind the muscle memory that it has new stuff to learn. You can't rest on your laurels. And when he was explaining all of this to me, and he said, back in the day, it wasn't as competitive. There wasn't so much riding on it. There weren't so many sponsors. It wasn't so big. It hadn't become an entity unto itself, an industry unto itself. And so they trained. They showed up for training camp. They showed up to practice, and they gave their best. But today they train to train. They work on the mental skill set, the emotional skill set, the energy skill set. They talk with personal trainers looking for that shiny thread, always bringing it up just a notch, just a notch, just a notch. Why? Because that's how you reach your best. Now, of course, the funny thing is that the first time you achieve that extra, the first time the long jump guy manages to add 2 feet to the world record, the next time he does it, he's going to trip over the starting thing and disqualify. It's normal. Add a layer, lose a layer. And this is Marnie, what I was talking about and pointing in your direction, because every show, everything you do, every layer you add steals the energy because we never had it before. And when you and I were messaging back and forth about your bronchitis, and I said, you've been through a lot lately. And now your whole system is carrying this new thing. And it's easy. It's a new layer. You've added a layer that is constantly with you. And sometimes it's a big layer, and sometimes it's not so big, but it's always there. It's the new layer. It's very easy for your system, your body, your energy, your whatever, when it's focusing on the new layer, to lose a layer. If your energy is depleted by this new layer that you're figuring out where to place in, where to file it, it's easy to lose sight of looking after you. Your immune system was probably not paying attention. And oops, there you are. So the most important thing for us to do, for us to remember, the people among us, those among us who have reached a moment, who've said, you know what, that's not good enough. I deserve better. And we bravely took a breath and took that step. And ta-da. And the next day we came back and we took that step, stubbed our toe, fell sideways, chipped a tooth, and spilled ketchup on our new shirt. Hat trick. And we say, I think I'll stay home tomorrow. Clearly, I'm a danger to myself and everything around me. And if we do stay home tomorrow, it gives us a chance to rest and get back up and do it again. And pay attention rather than assume that we got this. Pay attention. Every baby step takes us one step closer to success. So if it's not a yes, does it have to mean no? And categorically, I'm against that line of thinking. Over and over in my life, I have had it proven to me, that picture today, proving to me in the middle of, I don't know how many thousands of people were there. And it was like stop action. The entire rest of the world went into kind of a blurry slow motion, and I was riveted on this fellow with his dog. And I thought, this is for me. This has come for me. And I have come for him. And there was no one else in my world or his. And the only time I looked away was to look at Jessie and nod, and she nodded back to make sure she was ready. And Dave was doing my backup pictures, and I looked at him and he nodded, and that was it. That those 2 looks over were to check to see that we were going to have a record of it. And after that, I gave that moment all the focus, all the energy, all the intention, all the purpose there is, because it was such an honor to be invited to be part of it, to be chosen. And that's what we do when we first step up, when we first say, by golly, I'm walking here. We give our all. We're in it to win it. That's why it works. That's why it feels so magical. That's why there's this energy around us, this frisson going on. It is just, wow, I want to feel that again any second now. Because it's otherworldly how great it feels. And if you've ever said, I'm in, and you've done it and it worked, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Freddie knows exactly what I'm talking about. Julie says, hi. Hi, Julie. Freddie got on a bus and came all the way to Ottawa for a convention. And when he got on that bus and sat down, I am sure, Freddie, that you were saying, all right, let's do this. Because you made it. And then all you had to do was endure every step. And every step that you had to take, you figured it out. And you figured it out. And were there setbacks? Sure. Did you figure out a way? Clearly. Was it awesome? So you say. Of course it was. Why? Because you showed up for you every minute. And when we allow ourselves to be distracted by the setbacks, when ego says, we have to learn to give it a bit of a nudge. Talk to you later. I'll talk to you later. Because we can only be in it. We can't be over there having a sidebar conversation. We can't create and edit at the same time. We can't act and direct at the same time. We can't step outside ourselves and be in the moment at the same time. And every time we are in the moment, we are doing something brand new. It is logical. Just focus on how logical it is. It's brand new. Never saw the tool before. I wonder, how do I, oh, wait, ink, mark on page. Oh, okay. So this way, there's a little more flexibility. Maybe this hand, figure it out. How many times did we try it with the hand that doesn't know what it's doing? And then say, maybe the other hand. Okay. Practice. How many times did you need to rethink how to tie your shoes? How many times did you need to rethink how to get the food into the spoon, off the plate, and into the mouth with most of it not on your shirt? How many times? We can't recall. We were two. But it's true. Every single one of us has a learning curve we move through. Every learning curve is what I call a hesitation waltz. Step, pause, slide. Step, pause, slide. Step, pause, slide, until we figure it out. And then the pause is no longer required. Then it's just step, slide, step, slide, step, slide. The pause is how our brain, how our subconscious is memorizing it. It is how our muscle memory is figuring it out. Repeatable, consistent, over time. That's the definition of success. Repeatable, consistent action over time. When I have coaching clients and I say, I'll prove it to you. If you repeatably, consistently eat 5 Twinkies every day, at the end of the year, you will have gained weight. You will feel like crap. You will have a dental bill you can't afford. And the little voice in your head will be saying, what the hell was that? Because success is not always positive. Sometimes it's negative. If you consistently have one more drink very late at night, I can guarantee you that the next morning you're not going to be as sharp as anything. You are not. You may think you are, but when you think you're going to be sharp and it's 2 a.m. and you're getting up at 5, your math is wrong. I'm telling you that. So every time we have an opportunity to invest in us, every time we say to ourselves, I want that. I am that. I'm doing that. It's because we believe in us. It's because we know we've earned it. We deserve it. When we do it and we say, hell yeah, small spike the ball moment, it's going to be as difficult the second time, and the third, and the fifth, and the 47th. Because we have to get used to it. We have to polish our approach. We have to figure out our follow through. We have to come to terms with the fact that muscle memory is not simply acquired. It is something that we perfect over time. Memory is a repeated story. When we tell ourselves a story over and over again, it sticks. If we say we are a winner, if we say, I deserve, if we reach out to that special person and say, you make my heart sing, and we repeat it, it sticks. If we say the opposite, if we complain, if we see nothing good, if we fill ourselves with regret and spend our days standing this way, but looking and thinking back, we're going to get a stiff neck, it's for starters, and we're going to trip over something if we keep walking while looking that way. Let me tell you how I know. If you have a minute, let me tell you how I know. And so what I want to share today, because it's May, and the weather's getting better, and up here, it's getting warm, and we have tulips all over the place, and people are saying, it's spring, school's going to be out soon. We've got things we're going to do. I'm thinking of this. I'm trying that. I'm looking at the house, and I think I want to move the furniture there, or the apartment, or wherever it is that we live, and whatever it is that we do. Spring is a time of new beginnings. And when we try and succeed that first time, and then the next time we try, not so much, it doesn't mean it's wrong for us. It doesn't mean we don't deserve. It means we got distracted. It means we made some kind of an assumption that we got this already. And oops, apparently not. So when we know what we see, Freddie, you asked, do you see me? When we know what we see, and we say to ourselves, how you doing? I do that every morning. I look in the mirror and I say, how you doing? Some mornings I look in the mirror and I go, geez, what happened? That's a truck drive through in the night? What is that? We have to fix that. Give me a moment. Would you excuse me? I have to go and get more equipment. When we see in front of us who we are, what we want, and our possibilities, we have choices. We can give up. We can feel sadness, anger, regret, whatever. Or we can do what all of us do on the slightly less bright days. We can say to ourselves, I deserve this. I don't deserve darkness. I deserve to believe in me. I deserve to believe in my possibility. I reach out every morning and I say, hi, how you doing? And I make a little smile. And I say, thinking of you. You know why I do it? Because it's true. I am thinking of you. I am thinking of possibility. I'm so grateful to be here. You know, I was in a car accident in my teens. Messy. And here I am. Here we are. I had lunch with Carol Hay yesterday. She went away and had a wonderful adventure, came back. We're sitting there. And I said, your pictures looked amazing. And she said, thank you. And she said, I like some of the ones you were posting. And I said, I know, right? She laughed. She said, I love your depiction that Viking DNA is airborne. And I said, really, right? We just walk into a place, cheer everybody up and leave. And they're all still in Viking mode for quite a while. We have the choice. When we see somebody, when we know somebody, when we have somebody that we care about, like us first, and then whoever the next one is, we deserve to feel amazing. In the moment we say, hey, I'm thinking about you. Have a great day. Smile. We deserve to feel good about that. We deserve to know that they're going to go when they see it. We deserve to give ourselves affirmations with Abby. These broadcasts should be compiled into a book, easy to be read and referenced by topic. Self-help or reminders made accessible. Oh yeah? Okay. What? By myself, Miss Marnie? Okay. I don't know that it's an affirmation. I think, and if it is an affirmation, I think they should be called, here's the thing. And the image on the cover should be a very startled looking version of me. Yes. Here's the thing. It'll be a bestseller. Marty Edwards, I agree. Okay, right? Just another project. Yeah, just another project. I only have 46. Never you mind, you people. You just keep talking. Yeah, you're getting yourself in the ship. I'll tell you that right now. And I'm going to pull away from the dock and then see how you like it. Whatever, publish. Bearing in mind, as we're all really reading these comments and this wave of her wand from Miss Marnie Edwards, where she is in this moment. There you go. I see it already. All right. So here's the thing that I want to talk about. It's very easy to second guess. It's very easy to self-doubt. It's very easy in the wash. You know, the wave pulls away, and all that water pulling away is like, oh my God, take me back to the ocean. Oh my God. Right? Because that was a moment hitting that beach. Yes, wham. And so I'll design your barnacle buddies. Sure, already did that. Where's the next one? It's a whole book. What we need to forgive ourselves for is our humanity. What we need to forgive ourselves for is our tendency to second guess. You can talk and talk and talk your way through. Should I do that? I don't know. Is that appropriate? What will they think? And when I was talking to somebody the other day, somebody said, oh my God, aren't you worried what people will think? And I said, no. No. And the reason I'm not, clearly I'm not, seriously I'm not, is that there have been different people every 15 minutes throughout my entire life Which people am I supposed to be worried about the opinions of? This current crop, or the ones 15 minutes ago, or the 15 minutes before that, or the 15 minutes just rounding the hairpin turn? Would somebody like to keep track of all the people I'm supposed to be concerned about the opinions of? Hell no. So one of these, these conversations that I occasionally have with Carol, I will say something just randomly. My mouth opens, the guy in the back hands me out something. I hear me say it when you do. And Carol and my brilliant therapist friend, Andrea, both of them, separately or together, will say, "That's unhelpful." I say, well, I wasn't doing it for anybody else. It was helping me. Yes, but there are other people in the room, and now they're all looking for the exit. Some of them fell down. 3 are crying. One of them is eating chocolate compulsively. Oh, fine. And then I have to remember that, of course, I am among people, and I need to learn to use my inside voice. And why this is hard to remember is that and I'm not, excuses, no, is that my muscle memory, even though it's long ago, I haven't untrained. I haven't replaced that habit with a different habit. My muscle memory is to enter with purpose, enter with energy, separate the wheat from the chaff efficiently so I can move forward now, not in 3 weeks when everybody's had group therapy. I don't got time, I think, in here. Barnacle, any topic in best? No, ever. No, that's a picture. Crying, eating chocolate, and running for, yes, well, there we are. So what what is it? What did I say? Rhea, you're keeping notes, right? Crying, eating chocolate, and running for what? Cover? Is that what I said? So the hills. So what is hard on us is us. If we talk ourselves out of something that we treasure, if we, good morning, Daniel, if we second guess and say, oh, what would they think? Oh, I'd better not. We lose the momentum. So do it spontaneously, do it compulsively, maybe not. But don't ever forget the reason why the urge was there. Look at the trigger. Why was the urge there? Because the last time I did it, it made everybody grin, me included. And it was one of those things, random thing, do it, for a second later, gone, and everybody's going, all right, I want that. I want that. I don't want that. That looks awful. I want energy. So I go get it. And then afterwards, I think, I wonder if that was the right thing to do. Well, you know what? It was the thing I did. So in the talking about these affirmations, these positioning postures, these, circle checks, talking about truck drivers and pilots, it's always good to make sure none of the tires are flat before you get in the car and head off to the Drakkar rally. It's always a good idea to make sure there's fuel and an oil and water and whatever the hell else you're supposed to put in your car. Why? Well, because it's easier here than when you're in the desert on the rally. And the same is true for the smallest things. Should I reach out? Should I say something? Should I tell someone why they're special to me? Absolutely. If they say, ooh, I hate it when you tell me I'm special. Okay, they're not that special. Point taken. Bonjour. Bonjour. Crying, eating chocolate, and running for the exit. Yeah, story of everybody's life. Really? I think the only reason that Haagen-Dazs is such a successful business is because we weren't able to run for the exit because we had to get up for work in the morning. So we just ate all the ice cream. Now, so in this conversation today, if it's not a yes, does that mean it's a no? Categorically not. If it's not a yes, it means there's a different way. And it is not in our control. And if we focus on having control, we lose sight of the point. The point is not having control. The point is being here in the moment to receive. However it comes, whatever it brings, whatever the fallout. I have matching scars on my knees from roller skating accidents when I was 10. I have matching scars on my shins, one from a surfboard that decided to kill me, and the other from the rough edge of a stage that decided to break my leg. Happily, both failed. And why did that happen? Because the time before, I sailed through brilliantly. And I forgot that when you start again, you begin at the beginning. You don't get to skate. You don't get to leap over first grade. My dad was a very statuary man, 6'5" by the time I met him. And he was too big for the desks in grade 1 and 2. And so he started school in grade 3 and wandered around very confused for a while. And he always felt that every opportunity you're given is your advantage. It's your advantage. It's your unfair advantage because the rest of the world didn't get it. Your opportunity is yours to own. The first time I did a fan convention and all these beautiful people came up from the States to be my road crew, and we were on our way into the building. We'd set up the night before. We'd gone for dinner and we were coming back for the day. And we'd had this amazing dinner because some of our stars had joined us surprise, and these guys were just blown away. We're standing outside the building, and as I unlocked the door, I said, "Gentlemen, I want to say something to you right now. I want you all to stop and remember this. The minute we walk through this door together, your life is never going to be the same. It's a new beginning." And one of the guys says, "That's right, Abby, we're going to be on the inside." And I said, "Why, thank you." Get in there. And we all went in, and it was an amazing day. And we were just incredible. A million memories that are still rocketing around in our heads together. One of the fellows came up to me and he said, "You know, it just hit me about 3 minutes ago what you meant." And I said, "Really?" "And what did I mean?" And he said, "I'm on the inside. I'm still a fan, but I'm backstage. I'm crew now. I know what fame looks like from the inside." And I said, "There you are. Yes, indeed." He said, "It's an incredible point of view. Because, you know, we can go to a convention, we can go to an event, we can buy a ticket, but we're always a spectator until someone says, 'I need a volunteer to work today.' And all of a sudden, if you say yes and I say yay, then we are partners in this. We are working together. We're pulling the rope together to get us to the dock. We are making the magic and sprinkling it on people together. You're no longer a spectator. You're part of the crew and cast. And fame looks totally different from that point of view. We still have the sparkle all over us. But the sparkle isn't external to us. It is airborne from our fans, just like Viking DNA. When they see us, the sparkles happen. When they look at us, they see their potential, their opportunity, their imaginary celebration. That's what they see when they look at us. When we are on the inside, we can see the sparkles. We don't notice them on us. We cannot see the forest. We're the trees. And it's very different. And it's magical. And that's why that fellow stayed. He was with me all day. He wasn't leaving the dog and helping me lift, but he was in my stage. He was in my space. He was living my day his way. And that's how I want to wrap this. I'm going to give you the hack, but that's how I want to wrap this. If it's not a yes, says who? Says who it's not a yes? Because it's always a yes. We're here, aren't we? That's a yes. Did I trip and fall over a pebble in front of people? Yes. Did they pick me up? Yes. Did they escort me into the building? Yes. Did everybody just inside the door give me a standing ovation thinking that that was a pratfall? Yes. Did I have to wear a special shoe for a year? Yes. It's a yes. When we think it's a no, it's not true. It's a yes we didn't see coming. It's a yes we can perfect. It's a yes we can get gooder at the more we do. We are here to train, to play the game, to be the game. What is the simple win hack? What is the hack today? When you have a spike the ball moment, I want you to remember to do this. Write it down if you have to. When you have a spike the ball moment and you're going, yes, I also want you to say, I'll be back, or see you soon. One of the two. Both if you like. Once you have a spike the ball moment, it's yours. That ball is yours. That's your game ball. And no one can ever, ever take it away. That way, if the next yes is a meh, a maybe, it's not a no. It can never be a no. Why not? Because you hit that moment. You had your Pivotry moment. You were going through it and going through it and going through it and saying, it's not that bad, it's not that bad, it's not that bad. And then all of a sudden it went click. And the little voice said, what is wrong? It's not good enough. It's not good enough. Right now, today, maybe yesterday it was, right now, it's not good enough. And if it's not good enough now, it never will be again. So next, hand me the ball. Show me how this works. And when we fall, there is always somebody. Just say, I told you so. If there's somebody who says, I told you so, you're at the right place to bite them in the leg. You're right there. You're right there. You reach behind them, poof, at the knee, and then they fall down. There. So we got this. Thee and me, we got this. I have scars all over the place from falling down. If you haven't heard my story of the day I went shopping, I'll tell it to you again sometime. Do I still go shopping? Yes. Am I more careful? Yes. Is it still a great story? Yes. Are people thrilled that it happened to me, not them? Duh. So it's already past 11. I have blathered on, but I think this was important today. I have an exciting afternoon ahead of me. I'm going to explore something pretty important, and I'm going to talk about it next week. I want you between now and then to do something for you, and by doing it for you, you're doing it for me. And that is, I want you to believe I know what I'm saying when I say you deserve. I want you to believe I know because I learned it. And if I can learn it, so can you. You deserve. You don't have to beg, borrow, steal, manifest, need, want, desire. You deserve. And it may be held up in shipping, but it's on its way. They may deliver it to the wrong address, but it's on its way. This is what you have to remember. You deserve. If I deserve, you deserve. We're all the same. Okay? Keep that. Hold that. Be good to you. That's the normal drill. Remember to hug your loved ones. I mean, they deal with you every day. They deserve a hug, right? Right. All right. Thank you for making this possible. 358. It's not a bad track record, is it? I will catch you next time.